going to share my screen with you guys and start kind of our presentation. If you guys have any questions, really feel free to write them in the chat. I really would like it to be more of that open communication, questions, any thoughts, send them our way. We can kind of answer as we go, or we can wait at the end. It's been a minute since I've gotten this going. Let's see where we're at. Somewhere in here we can play. I can make it a little bit bigger for you guys. Just give me a second. There we go. Okay, so today we're just going to chat through some regulation strategies, how regulation kind of pairs with sleeping. Those are a lot of things that myself as an OT work on at times. So I just wanted to kind of give you all more of some ideas that you can have in your back pocket while you're out, while you're at home. There's a lot of things that sometimes we don't always think about, and or different strategies work for different people, different kids, all those things. So we'll kind of talk through those as we get going. Heidi, I have been at CI for about just over 6 years now. I have worked in probably 3 different clinics. I work a lot with our kids in our advanced program. I work, I'm feeding trained. I have had some MNRI aspect of therapy. So have a lot in that wheelhouse. I enjoy constantly learning. So that is kind of all things me. So before we start and dive into what regulation is, how it impacts our kids, or even us as adults, I kind of want you guys to think about how you would react in these situations. You can write in the chat how you would react as you go through them, or you can just mentally kind of process what those look like, because everyone is a little bit different on how they would react. So the first thing is, how would you react if you won the lottery? Feel free to write in the chat how you would feel. It might be interesting to see what everyone has to say. Let's see here. Ooh, nervous. That's a good one. Nervous is a good one. I would be like stoked. But I could definitely see the nervousness. Anything else? How would you feel, or how would you react if you got in a car accident? For me, I would probably be in tears. I would be scared, hopeful. I have to call in.
I said traumatized.
Yeah, traumatized is a good one. Those are scary things, especially living in Wisconsin. We have lots of snow, right? It can be pretty fearful. You have to take a test. I know going back to school later on and taking a few years off, it was nerve-wracking. Ooh, excited is a good one too. I feel like a lot of my kids that I see sometimes get really nervous and the anxiety kicks in. I feel like the next one is a big one for us as adults. You spilled your morning coffee and you can't stop and you don't have time to make more. And you have a really long day ahead of you. I know I'd be looking to my coworkers to
Angry.
angry. Yes. I would feel like I would be calling a coworker being like, I need you to grab me some coffee. Flustered. I feel like when mornings go that way for me, I feel very anxious and I feel like I don't have my feet under me. So then my whole day is kind of gone kaput in a sense. Yeah, frustrated, ashamed. Um, don't like making mistakes. That is me thing as well. Um, you ripped your favorite t-shirt or your favorite shirt in general. I would feel upset or sad, especially if you have, especially if it meant meeting. No big deal. You can always buy another. Absolutely. Um, it's your birthday. I'm excited to hear some things on this one. Feel like for me, I am excited for my birthday. I know I have friends who I see who get excited for their birthday. But I also have had friends who did not love their birthday, especially as we have gotten older. It might be like, oh man, I'm turning another year older. Um, or friends that I see in the clinic may also feel very nervous. All the eyes are on them kind of thing.
I have happy because my boys love celebrating them.
Yes, that's a great one. And it is a Monday morning and you have to get up and go to work. Um, this one could also could go either way with people.
Dread.
Yeah, sometimes we dread. It depends. Yeah. Some days we're super excited and we're ready to have a great day. Some days we're tired from the weekend and we're needing a few extra hours of sleep or a long day, got a lot of things ahead of us. Um, we all react differently. We all provide different feelings and emotions in each of these situations. So sometimes for us, we have to step back and think that our emotions aren't always going to be the same as the kids we are working with and who we're next to. I think that is something that we can really talk about as we go through this. Something that I have learned as a practitioner, as we talk about through these curriculums that we will move into, is that we don't have the same reactions to different situations because we were all in different environments in our home life. We've all gone through different experiences. So we all experience things in a different light. So we may have a bigger reaction or smaller reaction to those things. So just kind of keep that little tip in the back of your head as we go through that. So what is regulation? Oopsies. So regulation is being able to match your emotions and behavior to the task at or the current at hand or the current situation. What regulation is not is being calm throughout a time period. So what that means is what regulation is we are able to match our overall emotions to a birthday party, right? We are thinking about what is the quote unquote maybe expected way to be at a birthday party. What are those feelings that we are having? We're excited, we are happy, we are having a lot of fun. We may have louder voices, we may have a busier body, we may just be going nonstop, and that's okay. Those are activities and the situation at hand, and that emotion and feeling that you or your child or your client, whomever you are with, is experiencing, and that matches, right? Um, And again, we all experience different activities differently. What regulation is not is being calm throughout a car accident, right? That is not a time and place always to be calm. A birthday party is not always a time and place to be calm. Um, we always, I think, as we get into this curriculum aspect, we think of that quote unquote green zone as like, all right, we always want to be in the green zone. But again, as we will discuss later on, we want to like broaden that in terms of what is the situation at hand. Um, if it's a quiet time at school, it's a quiet time. Yeah, let's be calm. If we are here at the sensory gym, like that's fine. Be excited, be happy. And if something happens, you may get frustrated and that's okay because that's the space provided for you to be able to do all those things. Um, there's a large misconception that being regulated is maintaining an overall calmness. Um, again, thinking back to the examples that we had, if you won the lottery, I'm going to guess that your first reaction could be very, very exciting, shock. I don't know if many of us would be just like calm and collected about it. Again, our emotions don't match that experience. So we have to really remember that for our kids that we're working with or we have at home and we're trying to look through their eyes and like, okay, like how are we experiencing this together? You will experience various emotions during various situations. Not all of these situations require you to be calm. And there are some that won't require you to be excited, right? Again, I'm not excited to take a test. I get very anxious. I want to score high, but somebody else is very excited to take a test. Two different things. We're going to have two different reactions to that testing activity that we are doing. So really honing in on that. We'll move into that in a little bit, but think of what your child, your client, who they are, and know their ins and outs and what is really exciting for them and what may be more of a calming activity versus an exciting activity, or even maybe more of that like low key out into the park. Again, we all have differences and we all are unique. So as I had talked about earlier, we have various curriculums that can help everybody kind of understand emotional regulation. And sometimes you may hear language kind of from these more of our common ones, the alert program, your zones of regulation. The newer one on this list is kind of the interoception curriculum and the 5-point scale. These can be really helpful for kids learning kind of those concepts at the beginning of what are emotions, how can we kind of classify these. I know when I first started as a COTA, zones of regulation were really, really big and kind of classifying things. And it really helped kind of guide people into learning and teaching how to identify those feelings. Whereas we've come a long way in a few years, and now we're thinking about interoception and those underlying feelings that we're experiencing when we feel excited or when we are feeling sad or upset. So a lot of these will be used interchangeably. You can use them all throughout. You can mix and you can kind of match sometimes, especially as kids get older and they're hearing different things from different people. Some schools may use alert program. Some schools may use zones. One therapist may use interoception. Some may combine interoception and the 5-point scale. So a lot of it is interchangeable at times, all trying to get at that same kind of underlying understanding. Any questions so far or comments? So the first one that we kind of have, and I think was kind of that base program, is the alert program. Some common language you may hear is, how is your engine running? So thinking about our body as an engine. Is it moving? Is it low? Are you low on gas where your body is moving slow? Are you really, really revved up and your body's moving really, really fast? like a speed racer, or are you going the speed limit? Is your body just right? Um, and sometimes going this route may really help some kids understand like their body is going slow, or they're feeling just calm and content, or they are really excited. It kind of pairs it down. Um, with this alert program, I have personally, as a therapist, I have changed um, the low, just right, and high pictures. I've used their favorite animals. I've used their favorite characters and movies, having them think about things that are a motivating to them or concepts that they understand. Um, not all friends love cars. They may not be interested in that. So if their jam is animals, let's think of a really slow animal. Um, let's think of a really an animal that moves similar to us as humans, or that's just right feeling in your body. And let's think of a really, really fast animal and how we can relate to that. So I have alert program as where are we at? And then within this, I sometimes will take the interoception curriculum and I'll pair it together. So we can kind of go over that too as we move down. So this is one. Is your body moving fast? Is it slow? Is it just right? Another big curriculum that I feel like a lot of schools use. I know I've really liked this one for a while, and they're re-upping a lot of things, is the zones of regulation. It really helps classify your feelings into different colors that kind of show that calmness level, essentially. So when we think of something being blue, you normally think of sad or tired or scared. And that's kind of how this curriculum runs. We have our lower energy, our slow, our body's moving slow energy in the blue zone. And it gives some examples and some pictures. So you have the words and you have a visual. That green zone is calm, it's alert, we are ready to learn, that quote unquote optimal level. Green is good, we're ready to go. Yellow, we are starting to change a little bit, we're getting excited. We could be frustrated, we could be either getting really, really silly, or we could be working on getting really, really angry, or really, really frustrated. So that one kind of can go in two directions. It can go super goofy, or we can get kind of off of out of control, essentially, as it states, or extremely scared. So this one kind of goes in all directions to that extreme level of I hit my limit. This is where I'm at. So this one's great because it kind of can classify in colors. Again, you can pair this with when I am feeling too fast, I am feeling I'm really, really silly. You can start pairing those words with I'm fast, I'm slow, I'm just right. The other really cool thing about this curriculum as we work through it is that you are able to kind of pair tools with those feelings and emotions. So you can kind of create a little toolbox for what you can use when your body may need to slow down, what tools do you need to use when you're in that green zone or in the yellow zone or in the red zone, like how can you wake your body up and bring it back down. Again, can be used interchangeably with other curriculums as well. The thing that I like about the zones is it gives those underlying like ideas. It gives you kind of a baseline. But obviously, as we will go on to saying, we will definitely tailor that to each of our kids. And the next one is our interoception. This is just kind of coming out over the past few years. This really dives into talking about what is your body feeling on the inside and the outside. It really talks about those internal body feelings to help you understand what you could be feeling, what that emotion is. It was developed by Kelly Mahler. She's an OTR. So this one takes a little bit of practice. And within this curriculum, there's really no right or wrong answer because we are all unique. So we all kind of may be experiencing something different. So a way that I would work on this with some of my clients is we have gone outside, we played tag, and we'll talk about like, oh, let's like feel our heartbeat. I can jump around here and there just to match my kids and where they're at in those moments. So, ooh, like let's feel our heartbeat. Like, is it beating really, really fast? And I kind of give them an example. Or is it beating just right? Is it beating really, really slow? Um, and most of the time it's just right. And then we'll go and play tag or we'll go run um, and play chase. And then I'll have them pause and I'll have them stop. And I'm like, oh, like now, like what's happening? Is it beating fast or is it slow? And it's like, oh, it's beating fast. And then we kind of start breaking it back down, like, oh, like when my heart's beating. And then I kind of come back, whoops, up here, and I'll write in under the high engine or the fast engine, like, oh, when I'm fast, my heart is beating really, really fast. I may also look at breathing. I may sit and I may say like, oh, like let's just see how we're breathing right now. Okay. Yep. It's calm. It's controlled. All right. We're going to try to get after you play tag. And then we'll be like, oh, like I will mention like, I hear you breathing really loud. Like, what's your body feeling like? Or how are you breathing? What are you feeling? And usually I get oh, I'm breathing really fast. And so I go up here, like heavy breathing. My body is moving really, really fast. Or I'll put my breathing is just right. Talking about our skin, are we sweating? And chase is just one game that I've targeted with this. I have had kids who have gotten startled before or have gotten scared with something happening in the hallway or someone playing hide and seek and they got scared because they jumped out at them. We talk about those. Ooh, when that happened, how did your heart feel? Like, ooh, you got scared. Your heart started beating a lot faster. So you can start to see where these are all interchangeable in a way, and you can use them with each other. A lot of times I will give this as a checklist for my kids who are in school and is saying like, oh, when you get to take a test or your body starts to feel wiggly, like let's do a check-in and see where we're at. And these can be tailored to everybody. The thing that I like about this program for Kelly Mallard is I know that she has done a really great job of working on tailoring it so that it can be adapted really well. So that's really cool. And it's really cool to like hear what our kids have to say about like how their bodies are feeling. And that's when you can compare and contrast. Like, I don't like the way that cotton balls feel on my hands. It makes it feel like tickly, where somebody else may like, oh, it feels smooth. So it's nice to start to like gain that insight into our clients' heads because then we start to understand the process that they're going through, maybe during a certain situation. And the last kind of curriculum that we use is the 5-point scale. And with this one, it's sort of like a numbered scale from 1 to 5. It kind of puts in various situations that you can start to classify of, I got in a car accident. What would I be feeling? And I feel like, okay, a little nervous. I'm like getting a little angry. And you can start to sort those out into this numbered system. And as you progress or things happen, we can start to say like, oh, this situation was very similar to this situation. And kind of, again, compare, contrast, see what's going on. A fun one that I did with one of my kids, again, kept the numbers and I made it Harry Potter themed. So I asked my client, I said, all right, like if you were feeling really calm at a 1, like who are you feeling like? I'm like, Harry Potter. That's who it is. Beautiful. All right, you're feeling number 2. Like, who are you? Hermione. All right, great. Number 3 was like, I'm feeling like Ron. Like, he's kind of a worrywart sometimes, but I'm feeling like Ron. All right, number 4, Sirius Black. Number 4. And number 5 is Voldemort for sure. So we're able to start to like talk about characters that they have seen in movies and films and kind of bring it to them. And that gets them more engaged. That helps them kind of grasp those concepts a little bit, which is really fun. And then on top of that, I have also, let's see if I can figure this out really fast. So I have these, and then on the other side of this, if you guys can see, zoop, I may create another column. And in those columns, I might put down like a regulation strategy that this client and I have come up with together. All right, like when I'm at a 5, like I need to take a drink of cold water. So I might put like H2O here. Or when I'm feeling calm and relaxed, I'm okay. Feeling okay, I'm good. I'm good to go. Um, if I'm feeling a little nervous, I might say like, "Ooh, I might need to like walk away or run on the treadmill." So you can definitely list out the numbers, the feelings and emotions that you're finding, and then the tools so that you're at home, you're at school, they're right there for you. And that's can be super helpful just to even give a sense of like context to those working around everybody as well and working with to make sure that they are feeling super successful. All right, let's see what comes next. Um, so we'll kind of talk about how to use them. And I kind of touched on this a little bit already. Um, these curriculums can be used in a combination with each other. They should be personalized. Like that is one of my biggest things that I like to do is like I want to make this unique to this child. I don't want to use the same one over and over because they may not like these characters or they may not like this race car, animals, or whatever it is. Um, this will help buy-in and it helps support. They can relate to these people. If it's a Daniel Tiger, if it's the Inside Out characters, find something that's relatable to them. Um, it will help your understanding. It will help their understanding. We can use it with co-regulation. Um, Sometimes I can pull a visual out, or I will verbally tell a kid, "Oh, it looks like you're feeling frustrated. Like you could be nearing the red zone. That's not a bad thing." I'm gonna pause for a minute. Being in any color zone is not a bad thing. Sometimes we say, "Oh, the red zone's not the great zone," but we talked about how we're going to be in a lot of different, we have a lot of different emotions for different situations. Like we're not going to remain calm throughout. It's okay to get frustrated. As adults, we get frustrated a lot sometimes at different situations. And so we can't expect our kids not to get frustrated. But it's letting them know, like, "Oh, I can see that you are ramping up into the red zone. What can we do? How can I help you? Let's take a break. Let's come back to it." Like teaching them those strategies together is going to help them kind of start to prepare as we move on in the future. Like if we're working on a craft at home and it's really frustrating because I can't get the glue to stick, like, "Ooh, like I can see you're getting frustrated. Like, you know what? Let's take a 5-minute break outside and then we'll come back because I'm getting frustrated too. So let's go try something else." Then we can kind of reset, take our mind off of it, and then we may have a clear mind of how can I solve my problem? How can we work through this in a more calm manner versus then getting too frustrated with not taking a break and then throwing it and then getting upset because we broke it. Um, or I may say, like, this situation, it looks like it could be a 5 on your scale. What tool can we do to maybe bring it down to a 3 or a 4? I'm not dropping back down to 1. I want to take 1 step down or maybe 2 steps down in those situations so we can just kind of then keep working on coming down, um, and work through the process of being frustrated, of having to problem solve. I know myself, if I encounter a problem and I am frustrated, I can't do it. So I have to ask for help. I have to step away sometimes. So it's remembering those little things. And I tell myself all the time, all right, I need to step away. I'll come back and finish this work in a little bit. But my brain's kind of fried right now. And that's sometimes how our kids can feel. So that is how I use these. I do a lot of it looks like, or I can see, or I even use it myself sometimes too. Of like, "Ooh, I am feeling really blue right now. I'm feeling really scared because I don't like how this happened. I am going to go do this." As you're modeling that, your kids are picking up on it, they're seeing it, they're hearing it, they're watching you do it. So then they see that natural kind of, oh, well, mom or dad did this, or teacher Jenny did this. That's what I can do. Or here's how I can implement it. Things like that will really kind of be helpful along the way as well. So we're going to kind of go through a handful of strategies. This is not a all-inclusive list. This is a list that I have found very helpful. It's kind of a list that I think about being available outside of just maybe a therapy setting. It can be lists and ideas that you can use in the store, in a restaurant, different settings where you may experience some sort of dysregulation at times. So we'll kind of chat through those. So there are different types of input that can be used to support an optimal arousal state or level. So if we are in a moment where we should maybe be a little bit calmer, like we're in an assembly at school and it's not the time really to be super, super excited, that's okay. Like, how can we bring our bodies back a little bit down to maybe be able to attend a little bit better? Or we are really, really tired, but we have to go to school. So like, how can we maybe wake ourselves up a little bit in those moments? We can use different types of input to help us bring our energy back up or to decrease. There is no right or wrong way. It is what works best for you and for your child or for your student or for your client, whoever it is. It's you got to work. And just because one thing doesn't work now doesn't mean it's not going to work in 5 years. Just because something works now does not mean it's going to change. It's going to be a trial and error, and some things may come in and some things may leave. So keeping those in mind as well. So we'll chat through those. So our types of input are kind of classified. So we have our vestibular, our proprioceptive, we have our tactile, auditory, visual, and gustatory, which is another fun word for like taste. So vestibular is types of movement, thinking about how our body is moving, like swinging or jumping. Our proprioceptive input is like deep input. So going through our favorite squish machine at CI, or getting a big, big bear hug for like 2 minutes, or joint compression, really get a deep, deep input to our muscles. Tactile is various types of touch, hands, feet, face, whatever it could be. We need to touch something. Auditory, sound, sense of hearing. Visual is our sight. What are we looking at? What is motivating for us? We're getting the input through our visual system. And then gustatory, our sense of taste. This can be a really, really big and awesome one for our kids. And I have used this a lot in my sessions. So I'm excited to kind of chat through these. Any questions before I move on? No? Okay. So vestibular strategies. This are movement, right? Movement strategies. A handful that I have come up with and I have used a lot are swinging on a swing. You're at the park, let's go swing. Let's go do this. And as you will note, as we talk about sleep, we will definitely come back and talk about some of these strategies as well to prepare us for sleep. So swing on a swing, spinning on a swing, on an entire swing, getting that like rotary or that circular motion, making sure if we go one way, we're also going back the other way. Jumping on a trampoline or playing on a trampoline. You're playing at a park. Spinning on the merry-go-rounds. Those are fun for a lot of our kids, I feel like. As we get older, it's maybe not so much fun to jump on those merry-go-rounds as we may feel a little bit different. You're at the store and we're running everywhere. What can we do? Like, let's play a game. Like, let's jump from each square. or let's jump from the red square to the purple square to the green square. Give them a 3-step direction. See how many times they can do that, or how many jumping jacks can you do while I look at the macaroni choices for dinner. Giving them tasks like that at the start can help give them the input they could be seeking as they're running in circles around you. Walking or running, have them run up and down the aisle if no one's in there. Tell them, all right, I want you to run as fast as you can to the end of the aisle and come back. Do it 5 times. Also really works on body awareness as a side as well. However, again, like being mindful of those around us. Just an option that you can do. Or you can have dancing, like let's have a dance party. Let's see, walking or running, skipping. If they're at the store, have them skip down the hall, skip on the sidewalk, run a walk, like different things like that are really helpful. And again, being at the store can be really fun for some kids, but some kids may not love it. So giving them that activity of like, all right, like I can see your body's moving, like here's what I want you to do. Jump and down 15 times and then do 10 jumping jacks. And then we can kind of keep moving on. If you're at home or you're at a restaurant, a wiggle desk or a big therapy ball where they're able to bounce up and down, or a wiggle seat, or a T-stool, something that they have to balance on and they're kind of getting that swaying movement while doing the task at hand, can be very, very helpful. If you're outside the playground and going down the slides, rolling up and down the hill, those are always fun ones to do. You can run up the hill, roll down it, run up the hill, roll down it. You're getting vestibular, you're getting proprioceptive input by rolling and being on that hard ground. You're also getting heavy work, like, right? Running up an incline is tricky. Our kids make it look really easy, but after 5 or 6 times, they may be winded, which is a great, great way of getting them back in that state of like, all right, here's where my body is at. I'm ready to go have dinner, or I'm ready to go move on to the next activity or go back to homework, whatever that looks like for your family. Proprioceptive, so that deep, deep input. Some common ones that we kind of use sometimes are chair push-ups. Can be done at school, can be done at a restaurant. I'm sitting in my chair and I'm pushing down on it, and having to kind of work my arms, give my core that input. Pushing or pulling heavy materials. This could be something like pushing a shopping cart. I know those little kid-sized shopping carts aren't always a favorite when they hit the back of our ankles, but have them push the big one. As you load that up, or you put 3 gallons of milk or 2 gallons of milk in the little one, or you just load that up, that's heavy for those kids. So having them push it, it's going to slow them down, save your ankles, and it's giving them heavy work to do instead of maybe running up and down the aisles. Putting away laundry or groceries, having them carry a laundry basket, get them involved early with chores. You could load that laundry basket with cereal boxes, or maybe you lift at home. So put some weights in there, have them carry it upstairs or push it across the room and deliver the laundry to each of the rooms or people in the house or wherever. You're at a school, have them take the books from different places, or have them take books from the classrooms to the library. You're bringing in groceries, have them help carry it in and unload the pantry, load it back up. All those cans they're heavy for little arms and hands sometimes. So really good options for at home. Something else for school, in the community, ankle weights, kind of grounding our kiddos, giving them good input to their ankles and to the ground, can be really, really helpful. And then you add on some vestibular running, and they're really working really hard to kind of to get that energy out or to get what they are seeking. Tight compression shirts and pants when the weather is right gives them that good feeling. A weighted lap pad or a weighted blanket is always a good one. One thing that I also like to do is drinking through like a really small coffee straw or a Camelback water bottle where you like kind of like bite and then suck on the water bottle is a really, really great one. And drinking through a small straw is great, or drinking a smoothie through a small straw, or applesauce or yogurt, something that's thick that's really, really going to make their oral motor skills work hard is a good one. Blowing bubbles, same thing. You have to blow out, blow bubbles, blow bubble gum. Lycra swings can be great for movement, and then crawling and working through. Climbing up, climbing through layers is giving your body all that nice deep work that it may need to kind of feel good. Ball squeezes, laying on our belly, pushing a ball over them. Joint compressions, super, super awesome, super, super easy to do while you are maybe at the store. They're sitting in the car, you're waiting for dinner because it's a crazy night. Have your therapist teach you, have somebody that you know who knows how to do joint compressions, how to do it. It feels so good and so relaxing. And just kind of gives that little itty bit of extra input that we could be seeking during those times where it's hard to wait. Some tactile strategies. Fidgets are lovely. We all love them. There's so many really cool ones. There are some really cool calming strips that I have found before where it's like you can scratch at them. Some really cool fidget rings that you can spin or you can roll up and down are always fun, and they're super discreet. I have worn one before, loved it. Slime, Play-Doh, ice is a really good one. Cold, like really cold, really quick input can kind of bring that body back quickly if we are maybe in that really high escalated state where things are just not always going well. Again, different for every kiddo, may not always work the same for one child like it does the other. So being really mindful of talking to your therapist, talking to an OT, or someone who is familiar with regulation and getting what they need and what suits them best. Kinetic sand can be a good one. Shaving cream can be a really fun one. I have ice on their toys. I really like ice, but it could be in a bag. It doesn't have to be right on their hands, but brushing on the arms can be good, or just even like running your fingers up and down can be really helpful for some kids. So those are a handful, and this list is not, again, it's not the end all be all. There are so many more that can be used in this situation. Auditory strategies. Headphones if it's too loud, calming music, just to kind of help with some soothingness. You can get some excitatory music in there. You can go to a quiet space. There are some really cool headphones out now that I've not tried them. But they're super, super discreet, and they're supposed to kind of really decrease that sound, which is really, really awesome. Excuse me. So there is that one. Excuse me. Visual strategies. Again, can be totally different for everyone. Visual timers can be helpful sometimes if you're taking a break or they just need to see a clock countdown. Can also not be great for some friends. They don't like timers. A disco ball gives really, really cool lights. A lava lamp. Turning lights off or dimming them or making them really bright sometimes can help kiddos. They have some really cool like sand timers, or those little, similar to lava lamps or oil and water sensory kind of bottles that you can watch the little bubbles. That's super cool. That's a fun one. So again, a handful of options. Gustatory and oral motor. So I kind of paired these together. So we have like our gum, our chewy snacks, give that deep input to our mouth. Again, proprioception to our oral motor. I have taffy, I have fruit snacks. For chewiness, crunchy snacks, cereal, crackers, peanuts, almonds, um, whatever you could find. Granola bars sometimes are crunchy. Some frozen fruit snacks are a good one. Because they're cold, they're frozen, they're really, really hard to chew other than just regular fruit snacks out of the package. You really got to chew on them. You have that really cold sensation. Sour or spicy foods can definitely help. A cold drink of water, a chewy, a Z-Vibe, chewing ice. That gives a lot of really good input to our taste, to our oral motor cavity. Gum is a big one. I feel like really helps a lot of our kids like attend at times. I've had a lot of kids use chewy like snacks too during tricky situations like haircuts where they're like, all right, like I'm chewing on something. I need something sweet and I'm just gonna chew because I don't like this feeling. So this is taking my mind off of it. And it's worked wonders. And we faded those out a little bit as we've gotten older and more familiar with the uncomfortable task at hand. So that's been really, really cool to see and experience. Again, these may work, they may not work. You might have to tailor things here and there to figure out what is best in that moment or in that time of life. So there are times that I found as a treating clinician that what we may think as a preferred activity can be super duper regulating. Excuse me, I have a tickle in my throat. So some things could be coloring. Coloring can be super regulating. You're focusing on one thing. It's sometimes just a task of moving a pencil or a marker or a crayon back and forth and creating something or drawing. I don't have that on there, but drawing is really awesome for some kids. It's a preferred activity, but when they do it, they can also shift away from it, which is a big thing when looking at preferred activities as a regulation activity. Is if I give this to them, are they able to shift away from it in the moment of needing to return back to the task? If we can't, then that may not be our regulating activity for us in that moment in time. We may need something different. But Legos, the iPad, video games for some of my friends may be really super regulating. They get in the zone, but I set a timer. We have expectations sometimes of like, we have 5 minutes and then we're coming back. Like this task was challenging. We're going to finish it. Let's go back with a clear mind of, yep, we made a mistake or we don't get it. So, but we're going to keep working on it. Ice, sometimes scents, candles can be a really regulating thing for people as well. Another way to use these strategies is having a bunch of activities or strategies packed in a bag or in a lunchbox or a pencil case, something that you can take and run and go on the grab. So sometimes there's little Lego things that you can kind of put together on the go, or you can take a little coloring tab that can fit into a little bag or a little purse. Headphones or fidgets or gum or snacks, those crunchy snacks, having them on the go, ready to go, knowing that if we were to run into this may be my go-to activity, or I may have 2 or 3 go-to activities in those moments. If A, B, or C does not work out. So something to kind of keep in mind, having them in the car along with you can be super helpful. Co-regulation. We chatted a little bit about this earlier in terms of as a parent, caregiver, teacher, and or therapist, you are kind of that child's direct model at times. They're watching your reactions, how you handle your stressors in various situations. So in the sense of co-regulation, you guys are working together. If you see a moment of we're doing homework and we are flying off our handle because it's so hard and we don't get it, all right, like we're both going to stop. We're both going to take a deep breath together. Or we're both going to walk away. We're both going to have a snack, or we're just not going to talk. We're just going to have quiet time. And then we're going to come back and we're doing it together. Um, Again, it really helps enforce and show and kind of work through this process as a whole. Um, the hard thing is I understand that this takes time sometimes, and it may not always be the easiest. So when you are able to build these in, that's when it's important to be able to build it in. Again, we all have moments where we're frustrated and it's hard to regulate, even as adults. So remember these things on occasion. And if you can do it, awesome. Try to do it when you can. I'm not asking every day, but when possible, try it. See what happens. Um, Guide them in that direction of, yep, you're frustrated. And that's okay. It's okay to be angry in this situation. It's okay to be frustrated. It's expected to be frustrated. This is a new math problem. But let's take a deep breath, or let's go walk away, or let's go play Legos for 5 minutes and then come back. We go play Legos together, come back, we finish a task at hand. We're successful. Can be really, really helpful. Or talking through it depending on the age of like, what can we do differently next time, or how can we change it next time to be a little bit easier? What do we need? So really working on that ability to do it together. It's always helpful. Dysregulation. So what I think of when I think of dysregulation is my friend from Inside Out. This is just difficulty controlling emotions at the time that may coincide with starting, completing, or finishing a task that could be non-preferred or challenging. We have to brush our teeth. I don't like the feeling of a toothbrush. I don't want to do it. I don't want anything to do with it. So I am to a point where I just can't handle it. I need to walk away. So we may see some yelling or screaming, whatever it could be, or it's hard. Our math problem is hard. We don't understand. We have a hard time asking for help. So we're gonna shut down. We're not gonna say anything. There's a lot of different ways that this could look. But I think he depicts a really good image sometimes. Whoopsies. So what does this look like? Again, this can look different in every child and every person. It could look like increased communication during a non-preferred activity of, I'm doing math and I don't want to do it, so I'm going to keep talking to you so I don't have to do it. Yelling, screaming, hitting, throwing materials, not talking or avoiding the task at hand is also a sign of dysregulation. Or being super, super silly or super, super goofy. Again, kind of avoiding that task at hand in a different manner. So it could be a combination. It could be one. It could be none. So working through it. This is different for everybody and is different for every situation. If you can, try to identify the first signs of increased frustration. If possible, sometimes we go 0 to 100 and it's hard to know what kind of triggered that reaction. But as we kind of think back, we can kind of say, like, oh, this might be why, or we did this activity and this happened. So I'm going to assume or guess that this is why we had a really hard time with this or with this activity. Decrease talking. I said a lot of when a task becomes challenging, we stop talking and asking questions or trying to work through it. So get on their level, ask if they need some help as you know with these signs, provide them with some options. You can demonstrate strategies without talking directly to them. Be okay with quiet time and allowing them time to process through what you're asking. Kind of be directive and everyone walks away from the task. All right, like, yep, I see you're frustrated. We're gonna walk away now. Like, we're gonna go do something completely different, but we're gonna come back. So you kind of take the lead in like initiating that break aspect for that client child that you are working with. And then we come back together. That co-regulation, we're gonna come back, but we're gonna finish it and let's talk through it. Provide a time frame first, then 3 minutes, 5 minutes, kind of give them that set time so they're not wondering, well, when do I have to? Or when do we go back to this task? It allows for that concrete aspect of, yep, we're going back in 5 minutes. If we need more time, we can talk about that then. And sometimes if we know that it's going to be a challenging activity, like a math homework or writing, or we have to tie our shoes, we are going to say we're going to work on 3 problems. All right, you're going to put your shoe on, you're going to tie the first knot, I'll do the second knot, you'll do the third. Or I'm going to do one shoe, you do the other shoe. Give them those expectations and then take a break and then go back. Again, this may work sometimes, it may not work sometimes. It may work in some situations, it may not work in some situations. I know that it's hard, but again, as you're reading your child and client and getting to know them, we kind of continue to work through those tasks and how to kind of navigate that. Any questions so far? No? Okay. We'll kind of run into our sleep. So sleep and regulation, like what do these two concepts, how do these two concepts relate to each other? I feel like this is kind of funny because I know that it can take a while to get kids into bed and to start that routine and to go over everything, and life is busy. So it is quite the task sometimes. So sleep. We all love sleep. So what is it? According to the National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke, it's an important part of your daily routine. You spend about 1/3 of your time doing it. Is getting enough sleep at the right times. Is essential to our well-being as food and water are. If you don't, without sleep, you really can't form or maintain the pathways to help you learn and create new memories. It's harder to concentrate and respond quickly, which I'm sure we all have recognized in our own selves and can definitely tell at times to like, oh, yep, like we didn't sleep well last night. We're having a harder time focusing, and that's okay. Our brain's just tired. And that's something we jump back to with our interoception curriculum of like, all right, how is your brain feeling? Are you sleepy? Are you awake? Are you just right? Are you focused? Are you distracted? Those are different verbiages that you can use and questions that you can ask. And sometimes like, oh, I didn't sleep well, so I'm really tired today. My brain is kind of foggy. Yeah, and sleep is the natural reoccurring state of the mind that's characterized by altered consciousness. It is constantly working. Okay, so why is sleep important? It provides the foundation for optimal occupational performance, participation, and engagement in daily life. So what does that mean for our kids? And not only for our kids, but as for us. If they are not getting enough sleep, it is more challenging for them to do the things that they enjoy and are supposed to do, to play, to learn, to have fun. It's so hard to learn in school or in therapy sometimes when we're super, super tired. It's hard to pay attention. It's hard to play with our friends, right? Like we may see more conflict if people aren't sleeping well, and it's hard to kind of rationalize things. So lack of sleep takes a toll on our kids, and we see it a lot during daylight savings times or sometimes even during full moons. I don't know if that's scientifically proven, but I feel like we see it sometimes too at that point in time too. So how much should my child be getting to sleep? A lot more than I think that I even realize at times. As I was going through this, I tell my athletes all the time that you need a lot more than just 5 hours of sleep. Like you need 8 to 10, which is kind of crazy to think about. But for our kids who are school age, 9 to 12. That's so much sleep. Um, and it's crazy because we are doing so many different things in our day. A lot of our kids are going to school. Sometimes they're going to therapy for 3 hours after school. So it's 6 o'clock and then we're getting home and oh my goodness, it's dinner time. And all these things are playing a role into our day. It's hard to fit everything in. So not saying again, this is not the end all be all. This is from kidshealth.org. It's a range, right? Some kids really thrive on that higher end of 12 hours. And some kids may thrive on that lower end of 9 hours. It definitely is a specified kind of thing for each client. But it definitely is interesting to see and to kind of take into consideration as well. I don't know how my high school kids do it, to be honest with you, because they are constantly going, and I know it's hard with homework and jobs and all the things that life throws at them. So as with our kids, playing sports, after school activities, different therapies, maybe playing, just home life in general, it gets to be busy. But hopefully as the summer months kind of approach and life kind of maybe slows down a little bit with less school, they can jump back in and get in a good routine if that is not the case right now. But something just kind of to put on your plates. So something that can definitely help, and I will show you something that I have done some research on and found it a very interesting sleep routine, and I have provided it on occasion. Um, this one really goes in depth. The one that I will show you in a little bit goes in depth, like hour by hour by hour prior to bed. A sleep routine, again, is going to be catered to your family, your kids, what works well for you guys. You may only have 30 minutes bedtime. Everyone gets home from school. It's time to eat and then time to get ready for bed. So how can we make the most in a short amount of time? So we will talk through how to kind of work on that and how to grab those people in to help you work on that as well. Whoopsies. So a sleep routine is something that you do every day before bed and that is consistent as it can be. It's not always going to be an every night thing. I get that. A lot of things pop up here and there, but if there are some things that we can keep consistent, that's great. It just helps that process go a little smoother sometimes. As a family, you can create this together for what works best for you. Definitely look to assistance for your child therapist, whoever is involved. Again, it's tailored to your family, it's tailored to you guys, what works best. A little example that I have for it is, let's say dinner time is 5 to 6. Then maybe after dinner, we go outside for 30 minutes. We get all the energy out. We are, again, getting energy out before bed. Maybe some kids jam, where other kids, it may not calm them down. It may actually increase their arousal level. So again, tailoring it to your child, your family, what works best for you guys. If you're a family who wants to go outside before bed and you know that it helps, definitely get them on the swings. Jumping, bike riding, catching lightning bugs, picking flowers, having races at home, playing with chalk, different things like that they're able to kind of get those last little wiggles out. Now, if you can't get outside and play, it doesn't work in your schedule, these might be things that you can do, like jumping to the bathroom, jumping to get our pajamas on, maybe a small indoor trampoline, and we jump 10 times, we do 10 jumping jacks, we roll 10 times, and we do big hugs for 10 seconds. And we do that 3 times, and that's your routine. You're getting proprioceptive input, you're getting vestibular input. Maybe you're singing throughout it. You're getting that auditory aspect in, and you have calming music going, so you're starting to bring things down. Or you're going fast for round 1, medium for round 2, and you're slowing things way down. Of how slow can you jump? How slow can you do this? And making it fun and interactive in that way. 6:30 to 7. Maybe it's bath and brush teeth. maybe we're calming things down. We have some calming music going. We have some bubble baths that has some really calming smells. Brushing our teeth. We're making our way to our bedrooms. We're challenging. We're walking really slow to our beds. And we're getting in bed from 7 to 7:30. We're getting tucked in and maybe we're reading books. And then 7:30 lights out. I have some other things in the next slide that can also help, but that's an example of a general kind of sleep routine that could definitely help out in those moments. If they have siblings, definitely is competitive better, or is it better to go one than the other? Again, thinking what works best for both kids and for you guys as well. So other contributing factors that may go really, really well for sleep routines, and how easy it may be to go to sleep at night is school. What did school look like that day? Was it stressful? Did they have gym? Did they have music? Did they have a library? Did they play outside? Was it an indoor recess day? Was it super cold where we couldn't go outside at all? And we're just so busy and we're just go, 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 go. What does mealtime routine look like? What are they maybe eating throughout the day? What do they do throughout the day? Was it more of like a rainy inside calm day, or was it an outside in the sun, in the pool, go, go, go kind of day? Kind of watching that aspect as the summer, the day, the week, the month goes along of like, okay, it's been super cold for 3 weeks and we have just been going stir crazy because it's been cold, it's been snowing, we can't get out of the house. We got to do something because they're moving all over the place and sleep isn't going well. So what can I do inside to get them a little bit more of their energy out? How was sleep the night before? Did they have a good night's sleep? Was it a little bit restless? Daylight savings time can definitely play a role. Was it a busy weekend? Was it a slower weekend? Was it a rainy weekend? A lot of these things can definitely kind of play a role into sleep and the routines that we may have. Full moons, don't know the background, but could definitely play a role. Weather definitely plays a role with allergy season coming around the corner or hitting right now. Are they stuffy? In the fall, are they getting a cold? Are they getting sick? Were they back with peers? What is that looking like? How is that disrupting their sleep? So yeah, allergies or illnesses. And then some resources in terms of sleep. So kind of some tips and tricks that can definitely help if you have an early riser and you want them to kind of stay in their room, maybe working on that sleep wake clock, or you want them to understand like, okay, at 5 o'clock, it's time to start getting ready for bed. We don't know what 5 o'clock looks like on our clock yet. Oh, our clock turned yellow. It's time to start getting ready for bed. Using a weighted blanket. If you are looking at this option, making sure you're talking to your therapist and ensuring that it is the right weight for your kids. It's not too heavy or not too light. A white noise machine, giving them that auditory input, or a fan. Those are kind of very similar. A sleep mask. I had a few kids who love sleep masks and I just like the feeling on the face. A tight fitted sheet. This is kind of cool. It slides right over. It kind of gives them that compression a little bit. And some kids love it. Some kids don't love it. Again, you trial and error sometimes may be very helpful. And then a nightlight. Maybe they just need that extra little bit of light in their room, or they need a little stars on the ceiling with the nightlight that helps. So that's really cool. And then kind of going back up to the sleep wake clock. When it turns to green, that means they can get out of their room. Maybe they get up at 5, but you're getting ready for work and you want to play in the room till 6. All right, the light turned green. Like, you can go down and find mom now, or find dad, or find grandma and grandpa, whoever it is. Again, it just helps in that concept of going to bed and kind of getting up in the morning while working on timing. Before I go to questions, I'm going to stop my share really fast. And I'm going to pull up one additional, resource for you guys. that I looked at, and this is a really, really in-depth sleep routine, but it gives a lot of really, really good insight to it. So I will share that as well. So I'm going to scroll quickly to the top. So I found this from Whole Child Therapy. It is not in the US, it is in London, but this goes, scroll down a little bit more where they talk about, it gives you a ton of different resources too, which is really, really cool. But they go into, so here's where this could be tricky, right? They're starting this bedtime routine 2 hours before bed. Again, sometimes that's not doable because we're running errands or making dinner, we're having baseball or softball or swimming or camp that night where we're coming home and going to bed. So totally making this related to you guys and your family. But 2 hours before bed, they have a big workout. We start reducing the fluids, playing more of a structured game. An hour and a half before bed is bath time and brushing teeth and really bringing that low stimuli in. An hour before bed, kind of like, again, blowing bubbles, slow, calming. You're kind of starting to like bring your whole body down. Half hour before bed, you have like your big bedtime. You're like, and you're cuddling, you're in your weighted blanket, sensory night lights, and then bedtime talks about like what the environment could look like. So this starts 2 hours to bedtime. Again, you can definitely tailor that down to what fits best for your routine and your family. And then it just gives a whole bunch of other resources and activities that can be done as well for calming and alerting. Again, some calming strategies may be more alerting for kids, and more alerting activities could be more calming for kids. Totally dependent upon, again, your child, your family. So that was a cool one. It doesn't have to start 2 hours before bedtime. Work with a therapist, work as a family to create one, and what works best for you guys. I'm going to jump right back to my presentation. Some resources that I do have for you guys on this. If you have little ones, let's see if it'll pull it up for me. This Zones of Regulation book nook is really, really cool. If you decide that you want to look at it, they have split it up, since I have used it in a while, into early childhood and teen and tweens. But I will kind of click over here. And what I love about this is if you're working on a concept of sharing or anger or working through those things, these kind of like break down books that talk about different maybe zones. So like, What Should Danny Do is a great book. I love it. It gives a lot of scenarios and options that could happen. You can see the positive and maybe the not so positive, the negative side of things. And as you can see right here, it's kind of paired with a zone color. So they're blue zone, and this goes through all the zones. And it gives a really good description on the right side too. Clark the Shark is a good one. And I think I'm going to scroll kind of fast. I think there's about 71 books on this, which is really cool. Even if I'm not talking directly about the zones or feelings, I'm reading the book and talking maybe through like, oh, what happened in this situation? Or, oh, have you ever felt that way? Like I have felt like the rabbit or the chicken or whatever is in the book happened to me, and here's what I did. and really bringing it back to me to then help my client, my child, to that they share an experience that they have gone through. So love this website because it kind of really gives us some really great books to take a look at. And then the 5-point scales of the regulation, alert, all kind of gives you that access to those curriculums and some free resources that are on there as well. Otherwise, do you guys have any other questions for me? I will hang on here. You feel free to turn your mics on. Feel free to